Welcome to Friday. I hope your week went well. I hope your weekend goes even better. The portal is glowing orange. It's not a 2x event, but it is a progressive chance event, and we need to pull shards for the Summon Rush or the Thor Fusion event. What better way to kick off the weekend, right? So that's what we're going to do in today's video. I hope you're ready for it. Stick around. It's going to be some fun. Maybe there's some luck in the air. I am Colred. This is Colred Plays Raid Shadow Legends. Let's get started. It is the month of September here at Colred Plays Raid Shadow Legends. We are shooting for 10,000 subscribers by the end of this month. Now, in order to reach our goals, we need about 30 subscribers a day. We've actually fallen just a little bit off the pace, so we actually need like 32 subscribers a day for the rest of the month in order to reach our goal. So if you could help us out, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. But if you have already subscribed to the channel, that doesn't mean you can't help. You can still smash that like button for this video and any of our videos that you enjoy. That helps put these videos in front of new viewers who are all potentially new subscribers. So thanks so much for your support of that. And I'm going to ask you for a small favor as well. Please, in the comments below for this video, let me know if there is a way you would like me to celebrate hitting the milestone of 10,000 subscribers. Of course, we can get my editor, whose name is Sun, in on it as well. Any and all suggestions are welcome. We could do a retrospective video or a funny comedy sketch. We could do an inside look at our lives. We could do some kind of contest in-game or out of game about artwork or new merchandise. I could do a video of a type that I've never done before that you've always hoped I would. I have no idea. I obviously have lots of ideas, but I am open to all suggestions. So put your suggestion in the comments of this video or reach out to me in Discord and we'll see what we can get going for a celebration for 10,000 subscribers. Thanks so much for all of your support. Now let's get back to it. So time has passed. Shards have been pulled. No video awaits you. I apologize. I have spent the last hour and a half trying to rescue a video from the depths of OBS. Something happened with the recording, and it's gone. Now, the good news is I've only spent 6 shards. I have, in fact, done exactly what I said I was going to do, and you missed nothing. I promise you, you didn't miss anything exciting. I got 6 epic champions. None are even worth empowering. I didn't get the progressive champion. I didn't pull Geomancer. I got nothing. I got nothing, and you didn't have to watch my pain. So I guess that's an upside. And just to show you, just to prove, you know, I have in fact done the Summon Rush. I came in here, and you can see I pulled some of the rewards. So I've got exactly 3,000 points. I pulled exactly 6 shards. Now, I promised you a shard pull video, but I'm a free-to-play player. I don't spend money on the game. I don't get free resources from the content creator program. I'm not in the content creator program. So I'm kind of stuck. And as a result, I would love it if this were a live stream and you could tell me what you would like to see today. It's a little bit weird to be a Friday and not be doing a shard pull video. So I apologize. I could have gone back and reshot the intro and all of that and started a different video today, but I wanted you to be aware, one, that, you know, I tried, and 2, hey, mistakes happen, you know, problems occur, and that doesn't mean that we go off the rail, right? Free to play life is about discipline, even when things go badly. When shard pulls go badly, when events go badly, when fusion events go badly, when you fail as a free to play player, there is no rescue. You can't reach into that wallet and pull out the credit card and get a few more shards. You can't buy your way into great gear. You can't do any of those things. And by the way, this is not a criticism of anybody who spends money. I'm just saying that as a dedicated free-to-play player here, this is life. Sometimes this happens. So maybe some of you are there and you just had a horrible shard pull event and you think about rage pulling all the rest of your sacred shards, throwing away potentially your chance at the free legendary Freya. So I think that gives me an idea. What I'm going to do today, I haven't done this yet. I said I was going to do a review of Freya. Why don't we do a review of Freya? So just in case you are tempted as a free-to-play player or low spender or a whale to get some extra shards today or pull some extra shards today if you didn't hit, that this is the thing that you're potentially trading. So let's go ahead and look at Freya. Now, I haven't looked at Freya since she was first announced, so this is basically a fresh look. And yeah, and I apologize. We are changing tax today. So in today's video from Cold Red Plays Raid Shadow Legends, I'm going to take a look at Freya Fateweaver, the new Asgard Divide legendary, one of the 4 champions you can get, and a guaranteed champion at some point down the line, probably from a shard-based Deck of Fate event. Hopefully it'll happen right after the Thor fusion event ends. It could be anytime in the next 2 months. But yeah, let's take a look. So first of all, as we always do, we look at base stats here. Pretty good HP at over 20,000, pretty good defense at over 1,400, and very good speed at 110. So this is a nice tanky champion. She is a defensive-based champion. So sometimes tanky champions are tanky only in one stat, only in HP or only in defense. But she is tanky in both. Neither number is crazy high. They're both sort of respectable numbers. I don't know if part of her kit will like boost her survivability in some other way. We will have to see. But from the base standpoint, even the 50 resist is nice. That actually is a little bit high there. So that's nice. Sometimes you get 30 resist. This one is 50. So I like all of her stats. We don't care about her attack. And obviously the crit rate and crit damage, well, that doesn't serve her. So from a base stat perspective, very nice. I also like the look. I think she's a very cool look. Definitely has a like related to Valkyrie kind of vibe, right? Like if you go look at Valkyrie, you know, you can look at the shield, right? It's got that kind of Viking style shield. It's a round shield. You know, little bits of gold. She's got the wings on her face mask, right? She's got the tattoos or the body paint. Mostly like a mix of leather, gold, armor, and feathers. Right? And then if we look at Freya, feels very similar, a mix of leather, gold. She has got more of a, you know, a steel breastplate kind of thing going on here. A little bit fancier, right? She's got the wings on her sort of crown. She's got the round Viking shield. So very, you know, thematically keeping with both the barbarian faction and the Asgard mythology. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at her kit. The A1 is an AoE. That's awesome. I always love AoE A1s. Has a 25% chance, looks like it books to 40% chance of placing a provoke debuff for 1 turn. Now that on itself, 40% chance of a provoke on an AoE A1 is good, but not phenomenal. Like it's probably legendary, but not like great legendary A1. So let's look at the second half. Counterattacks with this skill when a shield buff placed by this champion is removed by damage occurs once per turn. So that does potentially elevate this A1 quite a bit. She could be a very good provoke champion depending on how the shield works. Now, there are a couple of things you want to consider with skills like shield buff placed by this champion is removed by damage. If you put her in a blood shield ring or accessory, she can potentially get a shield for herself every turn in addition to the shields she might place on other people. So this does open up even solo opportunity, right? There's a lot that could be done here with that. Okay, the A2 is on a 3-turn cooldown when booked. Places an increased defense and a shield on all allies for 2 turns. The value of the shield is proportional to this champion's defense and each target champion's max HP. So we haven't seen that before. To be based both on something from the champion and the target. At least we haven't seen it very often and not in this way. So we'll have to see how big that shield ends up being. I don't actually know if there's been some CCs who have done work on the test server with her, and we can see how big that shield gets. But 3-turn cooldown, 2-turn shield, which means we're going to have plenty of opportunities for that shield to break in order to get the A1 off. Now, here's what's sort of interesting about these two is there's a little bit of a loss of synergy here Like, you think there's a lot of synergy here, right? Like, okay, she places a shield on everybody and then that shield can be broken. But she's placing an increased defense and potentially a very large shield. So if the shield does not break, the A1 doesn't go off. The shield buff must be removed by damage. So it can't just run out. And if it doesn't get, if it gets stripped, like if it gets buff stripped, she doesn't counterattack. So what would be better, I think, for her A1 would be anytime the shield is removed. Like, not removed by damage, just is removed. So if it's buff stripped, counterattack. If it's removed by damage, counterattack. Like, those would be better. So a little bit of loss of synergy there. Still not bad, because you can certainly build her shield. No, you can't build her shield weak if you want her to be tanky and be a provoke champion. I don't know. We'll have to see how big her shields actually grow. All right, and then her A3 removes all debuffs from all allies and places a block debuffs buff on them for 2 turns. Also fills the turn meter of all allies by 20% on a 3-turn cooldown. Now, I have said this before. This is one of the most powerful skills in all of Raid. When you have a cleanse and a block debuffs buff for 2 turns on a 3-turn cooldown, that is an incredibly powerful skill. It's relatively rare. There are a few more champions now that have it than used to, but it's really strong. So Elva has one, Pythion has one, Cardiel has one. I think somebody else has. I'm missing somebody. Let me know in the comments below who I'm missing. There's 1 or 2 champions I'm missing. But there are only like maybe 6 champions in the game who have this skill. And it's so useful. It's so incredibly useful everywhere. This makes her a good arena support, right? You could certainly build her in like Stone Skin and throw her in arena. In addition, this actually gives turn meter of all allies by 20%, which I don't think any of the other versions do. Pythion's gives a heal. Cardiel's gives, I think Cardiel's is the revive on death. Elva's gives a increased speed buff, but doesn't give turn meter fill. And this is the one that gives turn meter fill. So this is highly usable. This skill is incredibly usable. So for this skill alone, I think she's a valuable champ. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at her passive. Increases this champion's defense by 5 each time an ally inflicts a critical hit. That's up to 50%. That's why her defense is only 1409. Because if her defense was like 1600, that'd be insane. So her defense is going to get very high if you have at least one champion critically hitting and the fight goes on and on. And that means her shield is going to be really big. Because you're getting an increased defense buff on an increased defense passive. And that's where the shield is scaling. This shield is going to be massive. I think this A1 is almost never going to counterattack. Because breaking this shield is going to be so hard to do. So I think her provoke is just going to be like when she attacks. Now you could certainly bring in a counterattack champion or an ally attack champion and get more value out of the provoke. But I don't think this second half, like this passive part of the A1 is ever really going to play very often. Okay, let's look at the active effect here. Prevents the death of the ally with the highest crit damage except this champion and keeps them alive with 1 HP when hit with a fatal hit. If there are multiple champions on the team with this skill, this effect will activate only one. Well, only activate one. Then heals that ally by 20% of their max HP and activates an instant turn effect on them. Okay, so this seems really cool. Now, there is a flaw in this, which is that I think a multi-hit skill, like if you have a double hitter and the first hit would kill the crit damage champion, the active effect will apply and then the second hit might still kill them, right? Like if they don't get, I think they'll get the 20% heal, but then if the damage is more than that 20%, they're going to die. And I don't think the instant turn effect will it won't interrupt a double hitter, like it'll happen after the double hit completes. So there is like a window for this to not actually save your champion. However, I'll say this. As somebody who is frequently coming up against champions in arena or live arena who have like unkillable effects on them, either based on accessories or their passive skills or whatever. It's a pain in the butt, right? And one of the counters to those kinds of champions, like Leorius, like Skullcrown, is to bring a block buffs champion. So Wukong counters that champion because Leorius has to get his unkillable buff to come up. And if he's got a block buffs on him, it doesn't come up and he just dies. This can't be stopped by a block buffs debuff. So it would have to be countered by a multi-hit champion, right? I think that's basically it. So it's different than getting a buff, but it is, in fact, a way to save a champion, to keep them from being killed, and it's going to be your nuker. So she actually feels like a very good arena champion. She's got this, which is great for arena. She's got this, which is great for arena, the passive. I think her increased defense and shield and her provoke and all that, I think all of these skills work for arena. She reminds me of a champion that I do have here on the account, which is actually one of the few champions I have a 6-star blessing on. And that's Goffred Brassclad. So if you look at his passive, there's an active effect. If an ally is about to get killed by a fatal hit, blocks incoming damage and places a block damage buff on them for 1 turn. So it mechanically, it happens different, right? This actually places a buff. Again, a block buff debuff would prevent this block damage buff. But the first half isn't a buff. It says blocks incoming damage. It just blocks incoming damage. It just stops incoming damage if the ally is about to be killed. So I think this part of the passive happens just like Freyja's does. Now, it'll be interesting to see if they can actually be run together and have their passive work consecutively as opposed to simultaneously. If there are multiple champions on the team with a skill, the effect will activate once. I don't know if this is the same skill. I mean, this is called Divine Foresight. Clearly, it's a different passive, but it's a similar effect. So I don't know if that'll prevent it. I think they can be used together. And Goffred Brassclad blocks the damage. Like, he doesn't keep them alive at 1 HP. He just negates the hit from happening. So his could fire first, and then hers could fire next. And so you could have 2 champions potentially keeping your arena nuker from really being able to be killed. And that's up against champions who ignore block damage, who ignore unkillable, who ignore stone skin, who ignore shields. Like this might be a counter to Georgian. This might be a counter to Mezamil. You know, because it's like those champions ignore a lot of stuff. But this can't be ignored. It's just a passive that gets applied. That's kind of interesting. And then her aura, increased defense in all battles by 30%. That's a very healthy increased defense aura, which again, you got the increased defense aura, the increased defense buff, and the increased defense passive. She's going to get a lot of defense. All right, so I do think that, it's good to keep in mind that this is what you're potentially losing out on if you rage pull shards today. So hopefully this video gets out there in time for those of you who have seen, see this video and have been contemplating whether to pull more shards. Don't pull more shards. This is a very good champion. Now, if you are an absolute endgame champion and you've got a ton of, you've got a huge roster and maybe you don't care about Freya, maybe you don't. I still do. First of all, I love tanks. I love tanks. So I'm going to be going for Freya. But maybe Freya is not as valuable to you. And so, okay, then maybe you want to pull some more shards, you can. Or if you're a spender and you want to pull more shards and you're happy to reach into your wallet and get yourself out of that dark space where you just totally miss on everything. I understand. I get it. I would pull more shards if I had more shards to pull. But I'm trying to be disciplined, be smart, be a free-to-play player, and get another great legendary into my roster for free. I mean, it's a lot of work, but it's free. All right, so that is it for today. I hope you enjoyed this look at Freya. I am sorry that you didn't get to see my horrible shard pulls, but please still let me know about your shard pulls. I'd love to hear your success stories. And if you failed like me miserably, please let me know that as well, because you know I will commiserate with you. And man, my luck it's back on track, I think. It's not so great these days. All right, one more red dot. And that is it for me today. I have been Colred. I appreciate you understanding my fallibility, my mistake today, and sticking around and watching a video. All right, that is it for me. Thanks so much. I will see you in another video soon.